Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. I am still in North Carolina. I decided to sit in the backyard on this beautiful covered porch and and do this reading. Let's see where we go. I believe this is going to be a collective reading. I've already tried to record this. I was 6 minutes in and I don't know what happened, but I feel a little wishy-washy about who this is directed at. So we're going to make it a collective reading. And then maybe at the end I will show you the beautiful backyard that I'm currently in. Okay, let's drop in. So we have intuition in reverse. We have perseverance in reverse. We have environment upright, and we have domestic harmony sideways. Okay. So whoever I'm reading for today is having a hard time persevering through some sort of domestic situation, domestic environment, and or they are having a hard time persevering through the repercussions of someone's domestic disharmony. Okay. So domestic things could be that between two partners. It could be between parents. It could be between any couple that then affects your life. It could be between your boss and their spouse. And then they come to work and then it affects your day because of their mood or whatever. So let's keep a very open mind as we step deeper into this reading. It's very, it feels like it's going to be very specific. So I don't know who the heck I'm reading for, but we're just going to drop in. So yeah, you're being called to, hold on, let me ground. Okay, so something's blocking your intuition. And I understand it makes total and perfect sense that when your intuition is blocked, it makes it harder to be tenacious. It makes it harder to persevere because we don't really know what we're persevering for, right? That makes total sense. When we can't access our discernment, we cannot access our intuition, and our intuition is the sum of all of our parts, right? It's our body wisdom, it is our mind wisdom, our heart wisdom, it is the wisdom from spirit. It's all these wonderful bodies, right? The spiritual body, mental, emotional, and physical bodies that all have their own I don't want to say barometer, but almost like sensitive instrumentation that allows us to pick up information, right? We are constantly picking up information, and the universe is in constant communication with us. So there's something here around, let's just have some compassion and grace. Also, I should have said that in the beginning, but it's really hard to persevere when you're having a hard time, right? It's just difficult when you're in the trenches and you're trying to find solid ground and to find solid footing so that you can take your next step. And if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, or if you don't believe in your next step or in the environment in which you're trying to take a next step towards, it makes it really hard to take that step, right? So let's honor how difficult this is. Okay, very interesting. I just happened to look in the unconscious and we have love. Okay, for those of you that are new, the card for me at the bottom of the deck when I'm done shuffling is the shadow position. This is the unconscious position. This is a very Jungian thing, right? Jung always talks about the shadow and what we're pushing away from the public, our public facing selves, right? The thing that we don't want anyone to see. Remember, shadows don't always have to be like bad things or shameful, conventionally shameful things. Shadows could also be something you're really incredible at. I always give the example of, like, say you grew up in a family that always wanted you to be a doctor, and sure, that might be a noble thing, but you might be pushing into the shadow your profound gifts of being a healer. Like, what if you're a magical conduit for healing from the quantum field, and by just putting your hands on patients or on people who are suffering, you heal them, but your family puts all this pressure on you to, like, go the traditional conventional route, to go become the doctor, the lawyer, the accountant, whatever. So there's something here just reminding you that shadows could also be really beautiful positive attributes. Like, are you an incredible leader, but you grew up in a family where you were told to keep your mouth shut, so you really never stepped into your brilliant leadership role? They could be positive things. So I just want to start to shift our not shift, but rather open up our concept or definition of what a shadow could be, because I think people just think of bad things, right? They think of things that we're ashamed to show the rest of the world. Or maybe you're like a high-powered attorney, but on the weekends you like to crochet, and you will never tell people that you crochet. It's anything that we want to keep hidden for some reason, for our own reasons, for social pressures, whatever. Okay. So again, what's being pushed into the shadow is love right now. So I'm just gonna, where can I leave it? Can I leave it up here? You can't really see it because of the glare. Oh, maybe you can. Whatever. Anyway. Okay, people. So what is this about for you? Why are you pushing love away? Is it self-love that you're pushing away? Is it love of a partner? Is it love of your friends? Are you going through a really difficult time with your relationship, but you're scared to ask the people that love you for help? You know what's hysterical? Wait, I have to find it, because when I was shuffling, this card flew off the table. Where is it? It's like a Sacred Heart of Jesus card. It always reminds me of that. Jeez, where the heck did I put it? Sorry, I don't mean to do that on camera and make everybody dizzy. But there's this card. Found it. Okay. There's this card that flew off the table, and it says Heart Guardian. Love and let yourself be loved. I should have known better that it was meant to be in the reading. So are you having a hard time showing other people your pain, your suffering, your darkness, your troubles? Take a look at that. Were you raised in a family that kind of embedded in your head and your body and your heart that you can't fail, or you're not worthy if you fail, you're not worthy if you make a mistake. Some families are raised with perfectionism templates, especially if there's a lot of pressure to become successful, whatever that means, right? That could look like a million different things. You're allowed to be loved. I don't even know who I'm talking to, but you are worthy of love in your deepest, darkest crap. You are worthy. You are worthy to be held in your struggles and your strife. You are worthy to be loved even if your partner wants to leave you and is telling you all the ways you're not lovable. Screw that person. Sorry, that was harsh, but you know what I'm saying. Like, we can't let these external forces dictate our own internal worthiness. One of my favorite teachers is Michael Singer. Michael Singer, I'm sure you guys know, he wrote most famously The Untethered Soul. He also wrote The Surrender Experiment, and did a couple other cool course programs, which one of them is my favorite. I think it's called Surrender Experiment, The Untethered Soul in Action. It's like a 9-hour audio course, and it's one of my favorite things. It's long and it's tough. Some of them, to get through it, some of the chapters are tough. But anyway, he gave this wonderful example, and it haunted me for many years, and I still think about it. Now it doesn't haunt me, but it does serve as a benchmark. I'm realizing maybe this whole reading is a love reading. Sorry, I interrupted myself because that just came through. Maybe this is just a love reading and I don't have to define it further, right? We could just leave it like that. Okay, so this thing he said haunted me for so long. It used to trigger me. It triggered all my internal stuff. I'm like, what is this thing? So he said that you should be able to be in a relationship for 40 years. And if that person comes to you, if your beloved comes to you and says they want to leave, you must lovingly help them pack their bags. Ooh, this used to trigger me, and it used to trigger all my insecure victimhood stuff. It used to trigger like, oh my God, but we just built something for 40 years. I'm not how could I just lovingly help them leave me? It was so triggering to me. And I got over it, right? I worked through my crap. But there's something here, because that ability to do that is loaded with personal power. The ability to lovingly help your beloved pack their bags and support them in making a choice to pursue their happiness. Oh my God, I want to cry. I just got full body chills and I want to cry. That level of power, oof, like that is some powerful stuff right there. That is the person that can do that is so full of self-esteem and self-love and trust and surrender to how life naturally wants to unfold, right? If we can just let the chips fall where they may, trusting that the quantum field is always working out for us. It's always working on our behalf. So maybe the quantum field is taking this person out of our life so that it can unroll the red carpet of our next journey. We don't know, right? That's the surrender point, right? And this is what Michael Singer teaches, that moment of surrender. Yeah, it's not a small thing. I'm just feeling that reverberate out of my chest. That is true power, to love someone so much to let them go, right? That's the big famous quote, right? If you really love someone, let them go. If they come back to you, it was like meant to be, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't resonate with me as much. I mean, it's poetic, but Michael Singer's like really tugs on my chakras. It really gets me going and gets me to recalibrate, right? To call my spirit back from places it doesn't belong, to like reset and remember, oh, I am not defined by these external relationships. I am not defined by anything really. Like what is it? I think, therefore I am. I exist, therefore I am. Like I am, period. I am. It's reminding me of this beautiful meditation. And if you don't like the word God, you could leave it off. But there's this meditation that it's just really quick. And so apparently I'm meant to tell you what it is. So with every inhale, so the phrase is be still and know I am God. And with every inhale and exhale, you take off one word. So it looks like this. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. That is the fastest, most powerful meditation I've ever come across. It helps me reset just in the breathing, in the kind of controlled, timed breathing. It's helpful. Like when I have to have blood taken, I am not good with needles. I am not good with giving blood. I get really fainty, and it's a whole freaking production. I do that prayer. I also bring my essential oils with me to like snap me out of it. But I do that prayer when I'm like stressed or nervous or having like a peak kind of moment, or before I have to facilitate or do some public speaking. I'm like a kind of a, I'm not an introvert, but I'm an empathic, highly sensitive being. I like my quiet time. I like being alone, the whole thing. So yeah, sometimes after all these years, it's still challenging for me to facilitate. It's like I get that like little kid nervous feeling. Yeah, enough about me. I've talked about this a lot, but yeah, this might just be a love reading. So we're being asked as a collective to bring our love, to bring our worthiness, to bring our feminine quality of receptivity out of the shadows and into the light, so that we can allow ourselves to be supported, so that we can allow ourselves to be loved. It says, love and let yourself be loved, the heart guardian. It's an interesting concept to think about, like who's guarding your heart? What part of you is guarding your heart? I rather, instead of using all that precious life force to guard myself against love, it seems silly, right? It seems a little counterintuitive because our hearts are permeable things. Our hearts and our love is a renewable resource. We can tap into the quantum field, to Christ consciousness, to oneness love at any moment and get like supercharged. I know that's a weird thing to say if you're not used to these terms. However, through meditation, through breath work, through, I don't know, any sort of thing that lights you up, through spending time with children, through dance, through prayer, devotion, any sort of, I think that's the point here. There's no correct North Star, people. It's only your North Star. So whatever that thing, and your job is to excavate that truth. So what is your North Star of that unconditional love and infinite oneness? What is it for you? What is your flavor of oneness? What helps you get you there? Right? For me, when I'm ecstatic dancing, I get there very quickly. When I'm laughing with my nieces and nephews or my family or my friends, when I'm like cracking up, like crying, have to pee in my pants, kind of laughing, that gets me there infinitely or instantly. And I just feel so filled up. It's like my heart's cracked open, but in the best of ways, right? It's just pouring out love. And I love being with people that like, you have the initial joke and you're all cracking up, and then you keep one-upping and adding things to the joke so it gets better and better and more ridiculous and more ridiculous, and then you're just all like, laughter is such an abundant thing. Sorry, I'm getting emotional thinking about it because it really is a spiritual experience, laughter, right? It's a celebration. It's like our life force is bubbling up and out and we can't contain it, right? I don't know why this is moving me so much, but it is. I love to think about laughter as effervescence of the soul, right? When you drink like a super bubbly seltzer or something, it's that effervescence, that kind of life force can't contain itself. So it has to bubble up and out of the body, and you get to share it with people. It's a really, really sacred thing. Okay, I thought of something else during all of that, but I got distracted and I'm bummed because I really wanted to share it, but I trust that it'll come back if it's meant to. Let me take a moment to just think while you guys listen to the birds. I can't think of it. Okay, where else do we want to go today? Let's get some of these to see what we're working with. What else do we need to know about this reading? What else do we need to know about love? Yeah, we have masks. This card continues to jump out for all different readings. So, okay, let's use that as wisdom and information. Why would that happen? Well, that's happening because as consciousness reaches a critical mass, more and more people wake up, and it happens faster and faster. So, it's showing up in all these diverse readings because when consciousness rises, our tolerance for false things decreases, right? We have less and less tolerance for things that are false, for things that are inauthentic, right? So we all have less tolerance for people wearing masks, for people like BSing or blowing smoke, to get us to do something. Like, I don't know about you, but I have less and less tolerance for advertisements. Like, I just can't even hear it. If it shows up on whatever I'm watching, I mute my phone. Like, I just don't want that energy to enter my field of awareness. So, yeah, we're basically streamlining the soul, right? We're streamlining everything that is in soul alignment and letting go of everything that is dissonant to the, body, mind, spirit. Okay. What else? What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? I'm really curious if you could hear these birds on camera. They are very loud. All right, what do we got? We have a bunch of cards here. Okay. Celestial alignment, that also continues to come up. We have fearless love in reverse. Okay, that's in alignment with our messages. And then we have speak up. Okay, yeah. So It makes sense to me if you're going through a difficult time, if you're going through a challenging relationship separation or domestic shift of some sort, that it would be hard to access this fearless love. So, what fearless love can you access? Do you find comfort in the love of a person who's not this, your beloved, or do you find comfort in like a grandparent or a parent or a friend, or the love of a public figure who's in service to the collective? Like, I find love in Carolyn Mace. Her wisdom, she reminds me of like a harsh aunt. Like, I have aunts like her that are, or just, I know people like her who just like call it like it is. And yeah, people think she's a little blunt and a little brash, but she's also speaking truth, and I like it. It wakes me up out of something and it recalibrates my spirit. And sometimes we need to be, shook a little bit to kind of call our spirit back from places it doesn't belong. Like, she just snaps me out of it. So for me, she helps me ground in higher truths and universal truths, and that process snaps me back into, oh right, we are one, right? We are one, we are nothing but love, we are here having a human experience. We have the most power we could ever think. It's just our blocks to that power and blocks to that love that we have to work on. That's the process that helps me get back to where I need to be. Okay, and then this card continues to come up. We have celestial alignment. I'm going to keep saying it like a broken record, but have you lost your connection with spirit? What does that look like for you? What would it look like to reconnect with spirit? Right? We came from spirit, so nobody hasn't had a connection to spirit. You could call it the quantum field, you could call it God, Allah, you could call it literally anyone, Jesus, like whatever. You could call it dance, you could call it prayer, like whatever your definition of God is. Cool, go with that. Let's roll with that. So when's the last time you've connected with something greater than self, like the great mysteries, something that has made you feel, that has inspired you to feel like awe and wonder? Chase that feeling, that awe and wonder. I'm telling you, that feeling of when you're so shocked or enamored with like an idea or a concept or a piece of art or a piece of music. That thing that, oh, I just got full body chills and now I'm tearing up. I don't know why. I'm just very moved by this when we can, we feel so small, right? And that's important, right? Because it forces us to rely on a greater thing, something beyond self. And that feeling of feeling so small and like we're just a micro part of this grand dance, this grand play that's going on. It humbles us in a way that other things can't. So maybe your path to God is just in being humbled by beauty, by being humbled by your sensuality, your sensorial experience of the world around you. That's not a small thing. I know I'm just kind of like just putting it out there, but it's like a lifelong practice of calling our spirit back from all these distractions that distract us away from that humility. And when you feel that humility, it's easier to love. It's easier to be in service. It's easier to access gratitude, right? What a weird reading today. I'm deeply moved by what's moving through. And maybe it's because I'm on a mountain and it's like stunning and I'm humbled and in awe of this environment around me. Okay, what's next? What else do we need? Actually, you know what? Let me see what's in the unconscious for fun. Manifestation. Yeah, I mean, if you're pushing away love and you're pushing love into the shadows, it makes sense that you feeling like you deserve any sort of manifestation or anything like that makes sense that you're pushing that as well into the shadows. Okay, let's see what else. Anything else for this collective? What does this say? Sage, be devoted and committed, and it's in reverse. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're kind of saying the same thing here. You know what I just realized with this reading? This could be a crisis of faith, a crisis of spirit. Does that resonate for you? This, this domestic disharmony could have to do with a crisis of spirit, with a dark night of the soul. If you feel like you've lost your divine beloved, meaning God, some of you may have felt like you've lost that connection. This is not a small thing. Let me just feel it for a second. Yeah, it's really easy to fall off the rails when we feel disconnected from spirit. One of my mentors, James Finley, who, God, he's such a cool guy. He was a monk for many years when he was younger. He is a psychologist or psychotherapist. I don't know what the correct term that he is, but he's done a profound amount of trauma work. He's done a profound amount of work for people with addictions. And he always says, he talks about mystical sobriety, and he says mystical sobriety is this reverberation of oneness that permeates our lives. It's really beautiful. And he also talks about mystical sobriety as an umbrella term that we all have addictions of the hearts and minds. So I don't know if you've ever, I mean, even if you're not an addict and you've never been a part of that world, if you read the 12 steps of AA, they're just like spiritual steps. They're very useful. Even if you don't have an actual substance abuse issue, they're incredibly profound and useful as, I don't want to say commandments, that's a little too aggressive, but you know what I'm saying, as like benchmarks or, fence posts to kind of guide some sort of path. And, yeah, I like that idea because it keeps me humble. It keeps me accountable that we all have addictions of the heart and mind. I mean, it's so true, right? We have addictions in different ways, to food and to doom scrolling on social media and to caring what people think, and like all these different versions and flavors of addiction. Why am I bringing this up? There was a reason. James Finley. Oh, because trauma. He has one of the best definitions of trauma that I've ever heard in my life. And it screwed with my brain for a very long time. Like, it didn't screw with it. I understood it, but it was something that I needed to test for myself. Let me just tell you what it is. He says, trauma is disconnection from spiritual experience. By that definition, so many of us are in trauma, right? That feeling that you are not connected to oneness, that you are not connected to something greater, is a traumatic state of existence. Do you understand how insane that is? Like, this umbrella phrase for trauma opens up massive compassion. It requires us to allow our hearts to expand the longitude and latitude of the reach of our love to a greater population, not just people that have had an acute trauma, not just people that went through a specific event in their life, right? Trauma, then the compassion of people who have been through trauma is extended, right? That courtesy, that empathy, that grace is extended to a greater population. This is so important for us to move forward in a way that extends that compassion to ourselves and to our internal family parts, right? To all the parts of you that have showed up in your life, your inner child, your teenage part, your adolescence, the protector parts, the firefighter parts, the manager parts, all the technical IFS parts. I don't know if you guys follow IFS. Internal family systems. It's very interesting. Highly recommend it because it just gives language and labels to things that we're working with. But some people hate it. Some people don't like to use all those labels. And, that's fine too. I think it's very natural for us to speak about our parts in that way anyway, right? You have a part that's angry. You have a part that feels insecure. You have a part that's intimidated by, I don't know, successful people, like whatever it is. And so this trauma is disconnection from spiritual experience definition allows us to extend grace and love and empathy and compassion to all of our internal parts. That's the name of the game. When we can do that, we can do anything, right? And when we can do that for ourselves, we have a greater capacity to do that for others, right? And that's why we're here. right? We do the work to heal ourselves, and then we heal the world. We awaken ourselves, and then we help others return to love. That's the rhythm. That's the name of the game, right? We didn't come this far to only come this far. We didn't come this far to keep all of this juicy, delicious, loving information to ourselves. We came to share it. I think I'm going to leave it there. Should we look at what's in the unconscious just for fun? High Priest, intend and create. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, this goes along with the manifestation card, wherever that is. You know, it makes sense if you don't feel powerful and you can't access your higher self, that you wouldn't feel like this is the time to create. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, but I am going to show you this beautiful, beautiful place. Look how beautiful this is. Can I turn? Let's see. Whoops, sorry. Little Buddha in the garden over there. And it's been really rainy here. And we're somewhere in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So we're kind of sorry, I'm trying to turn this for you. We're kind of in a valley. So the weather is not the same weather as it would be in like Asheville or somewhere else, a bigger city. We just have a weird climate. So I actually haven't had a lot of sun. And I love that I felt called to come out here and share this moment with you. And actually, this is a stained glass of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'm just going to leave it recording so we can all enjoy a moment together. I'm going to sip my tea. I hope you enjoyed this little moment of silence together. I'm sending you all so much love and support as you take another step towards finding this unconditional love and infinite oneness. All right, I will see you in the next one.